Shit, if you like the Wombats, the Killers, the presets, with a little bit of whoop whoop, it is an album to listen to at least once.
We're CDR, he's Bryn, I'm Matt, and we are doing Nothing is True and Everything is Possible by Enter Shikari today. They're based in England.
Yep.
As you can tell, they're heavily influenced by electronic music.
Mm-hmm.
So Rue Reynolds is the front man. He's basically the driving creative force.
And who's he?
He's the lead singer.
Yeah. Has he been in any other bands, or is it? No, this is his only.
This is his primary band. So generally, from what I understand of their creative process, he will go make the synth tracks, sort of construct the songs, send them through to the drummer. The drummer goes, "How the fuck am I supposed to play drums when you've got 64th beats ticking through? We have to make this human viable." And so they end up collaborating, and then the bassist and the guitarist come in and flesh the song out. That ends up being the process that they take. In terms of this band, I would say this band, they kind of like their activist themes tends to be where they end up focusing. Traditionally, they're more aggressive in the way that they produce their music, but as they've gotten older and more mature, their music has mellowed a little bit. So Rue Reynolds is on record talking about this album, saying that this would be the quintessential Enter Shikari listening. If he were to introduce anyone to Enter Shikari, this would be the album that he would choose. I don't know necessarily that I would agree to that, but there are elements in this album that ticker through to all of the previous albums that are for better or for worse, depending on what your opinion is. For me, as they've mellowed out, they have gained some things and lost some things. There are some elements of their earlier aggression that I don't think are necessarily present here, but that's sort of their track record. This is their 6th album, and I would have gone and seen them at some point if they'd toured, if they were here. So I mean, I'm coming from a position of bias.
You are very much coming from them as a fan.
I'm coming from them as a fan, yeah. So this album was released after I'd sort of been indoctrinated into the Enter Shikari way, and this was great. This was like a continuation of my listening. After I'd listened to the first 5 albums, this one came out. I got to listen to it, and there were plenty of things that I enjoyed about it. So that's a bit of a background on it. Although one little interesting thing, right? They, in order to get their brand out, they've actually sponsored a 5th tier English football club. So there's an English football club running around. Their primary sponsor is Enter Shikari. So I just love the idea of going to a game with them playing and watching these people running around with Enter Shikari logos on the front of their shirt. Anyway, that's a tiny bit of background. Was there anything specific about the band you'd want to know?
No, that was well informed. Thank you.
Yeah, they seem like fun-loving guys. When we saw them at I don't know, some festival before COVID hit, and Rue Reynolds will introduce songs saying, this is the sort of song that you wouldn't show your dad when you were 16. This is the sort of song that makes you want to punch a gibbon in the face. Just that's the sort of level of their humour. And I think there is plenty of humour to be had with them normally. Although I don't know necessarily that translates into this album. That's that in a nutshell.
And how would you describe the album?
How would I describe the album? As a fan, I think the album was good in terms of fan service without being great. Like I said, there were some elements of aggression that I wish were carried forward. Some of their earlier songs just really punch you in the guts, and I don't think that necessarily happens here quite so much with the music, but I think the content and the maturity of the lyrics and song structure is much better. And so you lose some, you win some with this particular album. I thoroughly enjoyed it as a fan. Well, what about you, as a non-fan or as sort of someone being indoctrinated at this point in time? What's your initial thoughts, and then we can hit the song.
My introduction is, this is a musical mixed bag of emotion.
Sure.
Straight up, the first 4 songs do not line up. They're all different.
Reckon?
No, well, each and every single one of them is different in their own way.
Sure.
They're not exactly the same. There's not going to see a rock band and it's been the same sort of drum, kick, bass, guitar.
Yeah, sure.
Obviously, Welcome to Warp, which was almost as good as a cowbell. I'm going to go through a list of what, before I even got started, and I'm like, I don't know who Enter Shikari is.
Yeah.
I'm like, are they a mixed band of people from other groups in the day? Now, I'm going to tell you. Enter Shikari, the psychedelically fucked me up and questioned reality.
Who's this?
The album.
Did? Oh, that's great.
I've never walked into an album like this ever in my life.
Great.
And I instantly knew why you liked it.
Okay.
And I can tell you a bunch of people from our grade or our year that would absolutely just fucking fall off their seat loving this. And I can see that. Now, I have songs. Obviously, it just reminded me of so many bands, from The Killers, The Wombats. Halfway through, I'm like, the Rubens? I'm like, yeah, wait, is this Techno? Oh, this is kind of, what song was I listening? Oh, The Great Unknown. The beginning of a modern day Mask of the Opera.
Yeah.
Is it Fall Out Boy? I'm like, the keyboards and like the heavy drums, like, that's sick. And then goes, warp, 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 warp. This has got to be, the genre is rock techno.
Yeah, I mean...
Is this 30 Seconds to Mars? I think this is the preset.
So, I mean, that's great, right? So, like, one of the things that they pride themselves on is the fact that you can't neatly put them into any sort of genre.
Not. And, like, I just get... He was like, who... Like, what is their inspiration? Yeah. And, like, I can pick what genre they like to play like. And they do pull a lot from these other bands because, well, they came... I don't know who came before who.
It's like they pulled from every band.
Everyone, yeah. It's like all the people that influenced them, like Jimi Hendrix, a lot of the guitarists are pulling shit from him.
Yeah.
They've pulled it from a lot of bands they like, but they've just smashed. I have songs, obviously, it just reminded me of so many bands, from The Killers, The Wombats. Halfway through, I'm like, the Rubens? I'm like, yeah, wait, is this Techno? Oh, this is kind of, what song was I listening? Oh, The Great Unknown. The beginning of a modern day Mask of the Opera.
Yeah.
And then I went into... Is it Fall Out Boy? I'm like, the keyboards and like the heavy drums, like, that's sick. And then goes, warp, 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 warp. This has got to be... The genre is rock techno.
Yeah, I mean...
Is this 30 Seconds to Mars? I think this is the preset.
So, I mean, that's great, right? So, like, one of the things that they pride themselves on is the fact that you can't neatly put them into any sort of genre.
Not. Like, what is their inspiration? And, like, I can pick what genre they like to play like, and they do pull a lot from these other bands because, well, they came... I don't know who came before who.
It's like they pulled from every band.
Everyone, yeah. It's like all the people that influenced them, like Jimi Hendrix, a lot of the guitarists are pulling shit from him.
Yeah.
They've pulled it from a lot of bands they like, but they've just smashed it all in there. Even to the part where they're a weaker, younger boy brother version of Skrillex.
Oh, I prefer these guys over Skrillex.
Of course you would.
But
it's not like they didn't throw a little bit of dubstep in there.
Yeah, oh no, I know, but there's actual content there, whereas like Skrillex is... All right. Okay, so I'm glad that you felt every influence under the sun.
Well, let's roll through the tracks if you want to.
Great Unknown.
That's where most of my bad boys all came out of who I thought it was. There is a hint of it becoming like heavy and ready to drop, but then no, techno. Straight to techno. And then there's so much going on. The keyboards, the head drums, the womp, womp, womp. You know, it got me excited for the rest of the album. I'm not going to lie. It got me really, really excited.
Yeah, awesome.
I was happy to be like, okay, I know this is what... Instantly knew this is your album.
Yeah.
This is a Matt album.
So you might be surprised, right? So like, remember, I'm coming from a position of having listened to their back catalog.
Yes, true.
Right?
But if you were to introduce someone to them... I feel like this was probably a good album.
Well, I mean, I have a ruse suggestion for it. So, for me, I'm not 100% certain if this was the album I was introduced to, if I would have been as into Enter Shikari as I was. I think they have one or two better albums.
Yep.
But in terms of, like, The Great Unknown, like, banging chorus, it has such a dark piano melody at the start. I think this, great track to start. The drums work hard.
I think it's a great introduction to the album,
Yeah, the drums work really hard in this.
Crossing the Rubicon. Now,
The Rubicon.
The Rubicon. So if no one knows what a Rubicon is, it is the...
It's like an event horizon, the threshold beyond which you can't come back.
To commit to a cause of action.
Yeah, without being able to change back.
Without being able to turn back and go back on your word.
Crossing the Rubicon is a very short affair. I generally...
It's almost like, crossing the river and you can't get back.
Yeah, look, this one's not really my favourite song, but it has a couple of really good, like, fun lyrics. It's a bit more camp. But, Beckett said it best, try again, fail better. Fail better, I think, is a great little message, It has so many different layers to it.
You got little support words in there.
It's just, it's clever and allows you to sort of think about what the true meaning of failing better actually is.
Crossing the Rubicon.
Yeah.
I was disappointed.
Yeah, it's not that great a track.
It sounded like every 2000 song that came out from those people, the Killers, simple drums that really let me down after being so heavy in the first one.
Yeah.
It really just, it switched. That's when I said it wasn't the same. Yeah. And I listened to it, I'm like, these are the songs from bands that I liked that I fucking really hated this song.
Dreamers Hotel, on the other hand, what do you think?
Are they angry? It felt really mainstream, and the Wombats to me...
I reckon this is genuinely my favourite song this year.
This one is your favourite?
This is just hands down the best song. It has such
this one starts out...
Yeah, it has that dirty, angry synth.
That's what it says. Are they angry?
Now, but, the thing is this song, the way it's constructed, the verses are set up as the critique, right? So it's like... students, nuance ain't nothing but a nuisance. You're either good or you're evil. You play a prick and there's no sequel, and that's the will of the people, right? So it's critiquing the fact that there is something kind of rotten in modern culture is kind of what this song is getting at. And then the chorus is happy by comparison, but it's not happy. It's ignorant, and it's taking it from that particular point in time. It's like at the Dreamers Hotel, it's 5 stars, but all rooms are vacant, which in my mind is like there are people who kind of just live their lives in this blissful, unaware reality, but it's vacant, kind of making maybe a passing comment at the contents of one's head. Vacant, there might not be anything there, right? So
you mean the ones who are making the critique and never get a sequel?
So no, I would say that it's almost like they're painting a picture of what I perceive reality to kind of be, and then subjectively there are people who are floating around blissfully unaware, painfully unaware, and I think this is what that song is actually trying to exemplify. So you end up getting this weirdly juxtaposing chorus that's upbeat, despite the fact you got this angry, dirty synth going through the verse track that I friggin' love, because it's just, it rasps at you and it gets you going early. Yeah, this is just such a clever track. And I listen to the rest of the lyrics. The entirety of this song is just cleverly written, I think. But without sacrificing that traditional English wit that you might associate with the Wombats. Like the turn of phrase, you listen to it and you're like...
All the wit you get from the Gallaghers.
Well, there's... for some reason, like the English songwriters just have this particular way in which they speak, and I think that's well typified in this song. And I can understand, when I hear it, I can get Wombats or even in Oasis feels in terms of the phraseology. But this song is an absolute banger.
It's almost like it's the same person. That this person that is young thinks they know all, that criticizes the world for everyone that they do wrong, and we should castrate them for not being the perfect entity, yet they're living in this dream world, but there's nothing fucking going on for them. They think they're perfect, yet there's nothing perfect about them.
Possibly, that's the one potential interpretation.
They're just empty. They've got room for knowledge and understanding, but they choose not to. So the hotel stays vacant.
Yeah, one begets the other, right? Yeah. Waltz.
Off the Earth.
Yeah.
It is in my playlist.
Yeah, this is a good one.
I love this. I instantly put it on and I was just like, who did I think at My Chemical Romance? I think I might have thought.
Oh yeah, it has Mama vibes by My Chem.
But I love circus. I absolutely love circus songs. They're not the circus, they're reality. They're just dressed like the circus, putting on a performance that they think they are reality, but really they're the circus putting on the performance for reality.
And it's hardly a surprise that they chose to write the song in waltz, so it's 3/4. right? So it's bum 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 bum, and it has like this slow lumbering feel to it, but like the lyrics are dark to say the least.
They're very, very dark, but they're very, very blunt. And we'll go back to the bump bump, the 4 beat. Is if you had that song in your head and no lyrics, you can make up your own song, and it's kind of fun to do.
Yeah.
And that's what I really enjoyed about this, is because you could go on your own tangent in your own rant, which kind of seems what he's done.
Yeah.
Is really just put on a rant to just throw all this shit at you.
Yeah.
I want this fucking song out of my head.
But regardless how you feel, none of this is real.
Yeah.
This is a banger, and like, we'll get to the album title in a sec, but I am partial to songs that build over time. And like the crescendo on the way out, it's not a nice crescendo. Like the synth and the music sections are dirty. It's just so dirty, but
so
it keeps to that waltz beat. It's just like, there's no other word to describe it other than filthy, and that makes it, I think, exceptional. And then it breaks off, and then it becomes this like jazzy masquerade thing at the end, where it's like, oh no, everything's fine.
Oh, we're just pulling the curtain. It's okay.
Everything's fine. ...
Yeah.
I love it. It just heightens the sense of chaos.
Yes, and the people just laughing and pretending and not realizing they're living a different world.
Yeah. So.
And then it goes back to the Dreamers Hotel.
Yeah, exactly. So nothing is true and everything is possible. Like the nothing is true. You know, how on earth are you meant to
interpret that?
How are you supposed to find truth in a world where there are so many different sources throwing you quote unquote truth? It's becoming harder and harder to actually navigate properly. And one bit of interview that Rue gave in terms of the second half of the title, everything is possible. He said that, and I think this is an excellent comment, he said that normally people say anything is possible. And if you say anything is possible, it gives you the impetus, right? You get to choose what of anything is possible. Whereas everything is possible is a bit more sinister. It is a case where, well, anything can happen, but maybe not at your discretion. And that's a far more frightening thought.
Everything can happen.
Yeah, the fact that they keep harping on that in the chorus.
Really just belting it in. Quite frankly, look, it worked. It's stuck in my fucking head. And I still sit there thinking about it a lot, just like, what exactly does that mean to me? Because it's a personal question, but the person is such a large variety. Anyone
it could
can
be
answer
interpreted a ton of different ways.
Everyone will see it a different way.
And worse still, it's so highly applicable to the life and times of 2020, right?
Yes.
So that tends to be why, I gravitate back to this album. All right, next one.
Modern Living. Oi, the warp is back.
Yeah, they love it.
And they're rapping? Or is it slam poetry?
It's a bit of both. There are a couple of songs in previous albums where he does that sort of thing. I think more slam poetry. I mean,
that's why it was my joke. It was like, is it rapping or is he slam poetry? Slam poetry.
But there's some just really, really clever turns of phrase in there, like, tossing a coin, getting heads twice, then expecting it thrice.
Yeah.
But like this song, I think is like, it's an ode to the release of accepting nihilism. But it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek insofar as that it's kind of I think it's making fun of people who do that.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're apocalyptics, drinking gin and tonics, la-da-da-da-da.
Yeah. Oh, whatever. Yeah, drinking with friends while smelling the flowers.
Yeah.
But reality is they're just wasting their time.
Basically, yeah. So that's totally what it is. And I think it's actually a really clever song. It's probably not in my top songs.
I can relate this to the Dreamers Hotel again. Because I'm just hitting that he really is taking piss of the younger generation, but also
it's younger generation. I think broadly speaking, this album it's part postmodern critique, it's part current cultural dysfunction, it's part shining a light on what is clearly a sense of polarization and tribalism that's going on, and then somehow trying to encapsulate that into 45 minutes of music.
Tribalism.
Oh, absolutely. There's a ton of that sort of going in certain spots. And actually, I think that's really what Dreamers Hotel actually
Okay.
Tries to get out more so, is that tribalism. And that's what I think that dirty verse is really sort of gunning for.
Yeah.
Modern Living and the Apocalypse in B minor.
Apocalypse B minor, yeah.
It's a good set of songs. I don't mind them, but they're not my favourite.
Intermission, that's why I put it down as.
Basically. There's a couple of them. Pressure's On's the next song. What did you think of this one?
Well, after DJ Scratchy Mike, after on to what? The Pressure's On.
Yeah.
I felt it was like the Rebirth songs, or like from the Phoenix, just, crash and burn, and now they're coming back. They were looking for maybe some sort of motivation. And I was like, oh, you could probably get this from this song if you interpret it in a positive way. If not, you can have a real fuck bad time.
Did you enjoy this song?
It's a fun song.
Yeah. So this song is probably not one of my favourites, but I think it also does one of the things that I think I like most about Enter Shikari, is as they've gotten older, some of their lyrics really try to express their view, and they are fairly progressive, but it's like some of their lyrics take just this one little throwaway line to say, look, but we appreciate that everyone is human and it's okay to disagree in some respects. So like one of the lyrics in this particular song is, I appreciate your belief, but I'm not sure you're right. Like, that's fairly cordial.
Well, that's very adult.
Absolutely. There's a song on one of the previous albums called Take Your Country Back, and it's basically them singing about we want to progress forward, we want everyone to go forward, but at the same time we can't be at each other's throats. Like, I feel like that's a good focal point for them, is that it's not let's burn everything down to the ground, you're with us or you're against us. It's you're with us, or if you're against us, well, let's try and convince you to be with us, right?
Yeah.
It's far more clever and far more nuanced, which is why I like these guys as well. It's like they can do this rip-roaring album and the content is actually good. Their lyrical content is great.
You're finding, it sounds like you're finding personal growth in these albums.
I feel like it was reflecting certain thoughts that I may or may not have had well in music, so I gravitate towards it, absolutely. But this song is okay without being great. Reprise 3 is very short. There's nothing really to say here other than the fact that you're probably like, why is it Reprise 3?
Yep.
Okay, so it's Reprise 3 because...
I'm guessing it's because it's the third time they've done a reprise.
Yeah, so in the very first album in Take to the Skies, they have Reprise 1 and Reprise 2, and still we will be here standing like statues. And so that's why the lyrics, and still we will be here, play on and on. It's very much an ode to long-standing fans.
Okay.
And then it bangs into Tina.
I was just going to say about Reprises, like, it's just a dreamy entry. I like the keyboards and the muffled vocals. That was pretty cool. Techno keyboard, the guitar, I did love it. And I just kind of imagine this as what would this song be like if it was on the dance floor and I was just trying to watch people just trying to synchronize.
Are you talking about Tina or...
No, I'm talking about Reprise. And
that's the breather. That's you've come out of a trance and you need a breath before the next song.
Yeah, that's what. But I should just imagine people just trying to take it easy in the club, and no one's in the same rhythm or dance or sync. Everyone is almost just floating through their own flow.
Yeah.
In the DJ club sense, it'd be fun to watch that.
Tina. I reckon I listened to the song 5 times before I realised that Tina stood for There Is No Alternative, and that's literally the lead-in lyric.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Thank you.
They're not singing about Tina.
Yeah, I was like,
they're singing about...
No, because it's T dot... Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm looking like, what does it mean?
Tina, Tina, Tina.
I didn't even put it together. I'm such an idiot.
I freaking love this song. This song is great. This was one of the songs that they pre-released before the album came out, so I've had a long time to love and enjoy this one.
Oh,
good. This is a banger.
Yeah, sick.
Alright, well, next one is the Elegy for Extinction, then.
Would you like to explain what an elegy is first?
It's meant to be like something somber. That's usually what I associate with the word elegy. I couldn't give you the dictionary definition.
I can. A poem of series of reflections, typically a lament for the dead. So, if you want to know an extremely famous version of these, would be "Oh Captain, My Captain."
Sure.
Dead Poets Society. Fucking what year was that? 89.
Yeah, something like that.
And that would be is a tribute to someone who has passed on.
Yeah. So this track, for people who haven't heard the album, is entirely instrumental. It's entirely stringed. I think they got the Philharmonic Orchestra from
very harmony.
Croatia?
I would say it was like
Croatia?
I don't know, but Disney. I felt like it was like a Disney like intro into a fantasy world for Alice.
Yeah, but like the thing is yes, right, and that's the point.
Yeah, but halfway through, when it gets a little bit further in, it turns into what I would imagine as a warrior coming back to its nation after it has rejected him, and he has done what they have asked and above and beyond, and now they're here to suck his asshole for doing so well.
You can imagine this being in a film, right?
It's epic. I love the thought of it, and then it falls into the Lament of the Dead.
For me, like this song, like happy ? It's triumphant. Yes. But the problem is that it's in the context of this specific album, right? And has the name Elegy for Extinction. So I get the sense that this music piece is fucking with you.
Oh yeah.
I get the impression that it's not happy, it's ignorant. And because of that you're just happily strolling down that path, and the cliff edge comes and you don't realize. So like the happier this track is, the more serious it is. It's like, and that's what I think is particularly clever about this track. Admittedly, I've heard it that many times now, I generally skip it on my listen throughs, but
I do
in terms of where it fits into the context of the album, the happier the music, the worse it is in terms of the foreboding. It's this weird thing, happiness, foreboding, and I think it's clever in the way that it constructs like that.
Yeah,
so,
true.
Yeah, in the context of the album, I don't actually think it's triumphant at all.
Oh, I thought the middle part, but how it ends is like Wizard of Oz, falling through the tornado at the end, and everything is going to crash. The house crashes, it all goes to shit. Yeah, and now you're in a wonderland of you don't know what the fuck is going on. It could be, what the future may hold for humans, because he does go down that line of like how we could be good, but we're also pieces of shit, and we may just be the ones that destroy this earth. And when it all happens, it's just going to be a tornado and a storm, and you'll be left in this land of you don't know what is right and wrong. Yeah, Disaster, loved it. Yes!
Marionette.
You know what a marionette is?
The first one, marionette. Yeah, it's a little toy held up by strings.
It's Pinocchio.
Absolutely. Did you like this track, the first one? So, I mean, just for those playing at home, there are two marionette tracks. They follow one after the other.
So this one's called The Discovery of Strings.
Yes. So for mine...
I did like this. It's almost like a warning song for authorities.
Yeah, so this song, this pair of songs, I think, talk about... like the beginning of self-awareness. Yeah, really is what I think. We
know we're a puppet, and
we've noticed the strings.
We're made of wood. We set ourselves alight, almost to the point is like we have control. Yeah, even if it is to burn ourselves.
Just in terms of the actual music, I think the chorus for the first marionette one, where it's like it's heavily synth vocals. I just friggin' love that chorus. It just rocks along, really, really cool. And has like the intro riff to the first one also has like this. I don't know. I always think of like Pink Panther whenever the riff starts playing. It's just it's like doom 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 doom. It just like has, I don't know. It sounds sleuthy, right? Yeah. But yeah, really, really clever. I really like the first one. The second one is okay, but tends to
it kind of drops off. Yeah. Satellites. I was like, oh, ELO.
Yeah, the intro, absolutely. Yeah. I wish I was a comet, but like dripping in synth. Yeah. Yeah, actually, that's a great point. I've never thought about that. That is absolutely ELO.
That's all I ever heard. That's all I thought about as soon as it started. I was like, I loved it. Electric Light Orchestra. Yeah, the potential to be an anthem, and that's why of the album.
Yeah, so this one was released as a single, as I'm sure you'd have guessed.
No, I didn't guess. I didn't bother to go in far because I knew you'd tell me everything.
Sure. So I mean, I'll get you to. I can get you.
I did go looking for stuff, but information on the web is not that great.
No, this song was released as a single. This one is pretty good. It probably isn't to my liking, generally speaking. Because I don't think it's as strong thematically as the rest of the album. The rest of the album plays in abstract, whereas this one plays in literal. So this is basically a case that Rue feels strongly about, and so it's a bit more real, whereas the rest of it was abstracted. I think I enjoy more the abstract commentary. So
you don't always need real for every album.
But then again, this is the only track where that's the case.
Yeah.
So and I like the song generally speaking. And so I'm a little bit conflicted on it. I think it's.
People could definitely be inspired by it.
Oh,
that's why I thought the
album.
I was like, I'm gonna find an anthem on this one, and this is gonna be it. The King.
Love this song.
Oh, he's angry again. Slam poetry.
So apparently, this song nearly didn't make the final album cut.
Really?
I'd be gutted if it didn't. This song has
Is this your favourite?
No. Dreamer's Hotel just comfortably.
Yeah.
But this song has some clever lyrics and just like rocks around in just such a fun way, right? You know, I used to be the king. You know, now they took everything. And like things like just like clever lyrics, like for instance, I grabbed my sword and swing, but I gone and pulled my hamstring. It's like, and like. Better dig 2 graves. Why? One for my enemy and fucking one for you, preferably. It's just so typical, like Brit wit, right? Yeah. I think this song is great. I love this track. What do you think?
The fact that he was angry again, it was slam poetry, and I didn't read the lyrics.
Waltz 2, Cannonball.
Now we're at a day spa.
A day spa?
Yep. I felt like it was tranquil at the start, and then it goes into it's reminding you that nothing is true,
and we're waltzing off the face of the earth. When you very first chucked the album on, I think you randomly selected this track, and you like randomly selected this and went to some random point in the song, and it would have just been formless because a large part of this song is formless. First 30 or 40 seconds is formless before it goes back to that waltz, and you very much get the sense that you're walking towards a cliff as you're listening to this song. I really enjoy this as a closer.
Yeah.
To the point where even though it is a fairly simple track, very short and probably not a lot going on, I still get the buzz of the entire album listening to it. So I still listen to it.
You are right. I didn't think about that. It is a very good closer. There are so many times you have an album and it just, why would you end on that?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. There's no drop off. Yeah. And you're right. It's a drop off.
Yeah. And there's some
almost
really,
to the point where they drop all their instruments as you fall off.
Not only that, but certain parts, certain musical things in the way that the intro parts are constructed. There's like these weird. I don't want to use the word glitch because that doesn't really exemplify what it is. But there are some weird spots in the music where they like weirdly bend the notes. I'll pick it out for you afterwards. But there's some parts where you listen to and it's like, is the audio stuffed up? And it's like, no, it's intentionally stuffed up. There are these points where it bends out of form in a way that is, I think, foreboding despite the tranquil nature of the song. Yeah, I love this as a closer.
Broadly speaking, this is an album I know I can recommend to a few people. I like it. It's something new. It has increased the taste of my palate in music. I'm like sniffing perfumes, and now I got a whiff of coffee. Yeah, it's great, and I'm excited to listen to more like this. Yeah, a lot of shit like this. Just like, let's get super spicy. Matthew, what is your call?
This album was good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'd probably give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah. Oh wow, you're going high.
Would you rate it?
No, I'm not gonna rate it. Shit. If you like the Wombats, the Killers, the presets, with a little bit of whoop whoop, it is an album to listen to at least once. Okay, my turn. Next week we're listening to The Strokes.
Oh, okay, cool.
The New Abnormal is the album.
Cool.